Einstein's dreams emerged from a collaborative process with Woodland School in Basildon, Essex. And we were trying to achieve a number of things that they were interested in. They had just become a performing arts specialist status school, and there was a lot of responsibility with that. The biggest responsibility was for them to become a creative beacon for the whole Basildon community, and they wanted our help with that. They also wanted help with the idea of bringing creativity, and particularly through performance, into the school more broadly, so bringing performance tools into maths, into science. And Einstein's Dreams, we thought, and they thought, was a great vehicle for doing that.
Einstein's Dreams was a particularly ambitious program that we did with Woodlands Secondary School in Basildon. We'd done some work in the school with creative practitioners, getting to know the teachers and the students and to understand the culture of the school and get under the skin of the school, if you like. Once we'd done some fairly small pieces of work with those particular partners, we decided that we could then step up a gear and look at doing something really ambitious in partnership with the school.
My role in Einstein's Dreams was looking at how we could work with both teachers and students and raise their aspirations and understanding of what creativity could be and how it could be used meaningfully both in and outside the classroom. So with teachers, we'd look at how we could make science more exciting, or how we could engage a class in a new way, and building the teacher's confidence in that, and then using those ideas and placing them in a performative context. So it's quite an innovative and unusual way of working, but it was really important for us to do that because we wanted the school and the teachers to have ownership over their work.
Really, we tried to set it up so that there were lots of different ways in for kids. So there were music elements, there was juggling and circus skills, there was acting and dance. We ran a competition for students to write a pop song. The winners of that competition then got to make a pop video. So we were looking for lots of different access points for kids and saying, well, you know, take your pick, come and be part of this.
Einstein's Dreams was the project that we arrived at after working with a whole range of departments, trying to make sure that everybody felt engaged in the project, whether it was science, English, maths, whatever. And it wasn't just the property of the Performing Arts Department. So it was very important, I think, for all of us that we felt that it went across the school and wasn't just compartmentalised. As part of the process, we decided to have a retreat, a 3-day retreat, which brought together professional artists, filmmakers, dancers, choreographers, teachers from the school, to pool ideas, all of us having read Einstein's Dreams, and just come up with any ideas at all. So there were no parameters set. And then from those initial ideas, the project was gradually kind of whittled down, so that the end product brought together a combination of ideas from a lot of different sources, which made it very exciting.
It was very interesting when we first started talking to some of the practitioners about doing the work, and these were people who had done very, very high quality work in a lot of really well-known places. And they liked the idea, but I think that they were, I wouldn't say skeptical, but wary about trying to achieve it in a secondary school. One of the things that we thought was a challenge, and one of the challenges we wanted to take on, was the idea of physical space at Woodland School. It's a large secondary school, 1,600 students, 200 staff, and their idea of performance was you put something on a stage and then the audience applauds, that sort of thing. we wanted to do something different. We wanted to take over spaces that weren't performance spaces. And that was the idea that the professional practitioners, I think at first were a little wary of, but then got very, very excited about the challenge. And the challenge was huge. We basically had to rewire certain spaces, repainted them, we took down walls in certain areas, and we rebuilt certain spaces in the image of the production. And that was really their driving enthusiasm that helped make that happen.
The performances ran over 3 days, and we had 4 performances a day, which involved 90 travellers in the plays, and they went on it's a promenade performance, and so the 90 travellers met in one place, then took the tour with the actors, singers, dancers, musicians, circus acts, and they went between them. Everything was timed to the utmost to make sure that the logistics of the operation worked well, and they just flowed effortlessly. And that was a real credit to the Creative Partnerships team in having made the logistics of that work, because it was a phenomenally complicated scenario that relied heavily on the children that were taking part being able to think on their feet, because there were no guarantees.
I think it really demonstrated that if you raise the bar, kids will rise to meet that challenge. They were, as sort of year 9s and 10s, they were holding audiences of adults, of perhaps 30, 40 people at a time, taking this audience round a promenade performance and actually having that audience in their hands and being in charge and performing to them. And probably even more daunting, they were doing the same with groups of their peers, which I think when you're 14, 15 is a very courageous thing to do. And they did it, they pulled it off.
I don't think the teachers or the students will be able to see the spaces the same way again, but also because we had a really intensive period of consultation. We tried to create work that would be meaningful and relevant, and by building the teachers' confidence in what creativity is and their understanding that they are creative beings, I think their process as teachers will be more enriching, more engaging. They feel more able to take risks, to try out new things and approach the curriculum in a different and perhaps more challenging way. Often
Students don't know what they want to do. They don't know they want to be a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant. And pieces of work like this in school are really important because they give students the confidence to try new things, either as an audience member or as a performer. And they play on things like cooperation and collaboration. So when you're devising a big complex piece like this, there's a huge amount of team working that has to be developed. The kids all have to communicate with each other. They have to understand what the sort of protocols and sensitivities are of putting on a show like this. And those are all real skills for life.
I think as far as looking into the future with the school, I think the children, all of the children have got a lot from it. But I think one of the other things which was quite key to what we were trying to do at the start is that in terms of collaboration with other departments and in cross-curricular work that we're now doing as a performing arts team, the lines of communication are much more open. We've started doing projects on the back of Einstein streams. The collaborations that we're doing with the science department particularly, who have looked and seen new ways of working. And I mean, we all feel very safe in the boxes that we know. And for staff to come out of their boxes and say, well, actually, I think I can make this more interesting. I think I can do X, Y, and Z. I can use this strategy or I can use this technique. I think that's where we're going to see the long-term legacy. And that's not just in science. It's certainly moved into history, into modern foreign languages, certainly into English, media, visual arts. There's certainly a real buzz around the school now of the possibilities. And I think even if people just start acknowledging the possibilities, we're some way towards working more collaboratively as a staff team.